friends! Today I am remembering back when I learned my first coding language. It was on the job and I had never coded or developed anything before. And let me tell you, I had several periods where I was just confused and overwhelmed, and I remember thinking, how am I ever going to remember all of this? And after several months of some trial and error type learning, I was somewhat fluent. And later on, I learned another language, and then another language, and another language. And some of these I learned on my own time, and others I learned in class or in school. So I've experienced both styles of learning how to code. And I understand the feelings of frustration and even fear on the job of thinking, I'm never going to learn this fast enough. But after learning several languages and talking to other developers who have done the same, I would love to share with you how you can learn the basics of any programming language in just 24 hours. Now, this is not all at once. You definitely need some sleep in these 24 hours. You need rest for clear thinking. 24 hours is just the total blocks of time that fit within your schedule. Now, of course, you're not going to be an expert developer in the programming language of your choice after 24 hours. But in these 24 hours, you should be able to grasp the fundamentals, the basics of that coding language, and be able to build some simple programs using that language. So let's go step by step through a sample hour-by-hour schedule on how to learn any programming language basics in 24 hours. But before I jump into that, please take a moment and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on all the programming help that I am dishing out all the time on my channel. So hit that subscribe button so you can come back and find me later. Also, stay to the end because I have a huge bonus tip for absolute beginner programmers. So let's jump into this hour-by-hour sample schedule. So the first 1 to 2 hours should be allocated towards research. And I break this into two sections, personal research and language research. Your personal research should answer the questions of why do you want to learn a programming language? What are your goals for learning a programming language? Is it so you can get a job as a developer and maybe make more money? Those are personal reasons specific to you that only you can answer. Once you've done that, you'll want to do some language-specific research. If you already have a language in mind, then you'll want to research what that language is commonly used for so that you can be sure that learning that language actually helps you achieve your goals. For example, Python is used widely in data science, data analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So if you're looking to get into one of those fields, then Python may be a language you'd like to learn. For another example, if you're looking to be a web developer or a user interface designer, then you may want to go with HTML and CSS. So be sure to do that research so you know that the language you're learning is going to take you on that path to achieving those goals. Hour 3, you'll want to check out the language's official documentation. Now, this can be a boring read, but just sorting through and exploring the documentation can give you a good idea of how the language works. It's kind of like looking at a map of a new city before you travel there. Now, there's no need to memorize this documentation. You can, of course, always go back to it for reference. Just take some time to explore it and get your bearings of the language. For hours 4 and 5, look up some open source projects in your language, and GitHub can be really helpful here. After you've got an idea of the code through the documentation, looking through an existing project and scrolling through the code can give you some insight on syntax and the structure of the language. And this will help familiarize you more with that language before you actually start building with it. For hours 6 through 10, take a basics tutorial course in your language. Carve out blocks of time to be able to focus and actually go through and follow along with the tutorial. Don't just watch it. This is your time to grasp the basics and the fundamentals of your language, so don't rush these hours. Be fully immersed in them and take the time to learn the syntax and the structure of your language. Hours 11 through 15, build a simple project with what you learn in the tutorial. This can be as simple as you need it to be. There's no need to get fancy here. You're just trying to get your hands dirty with the code to reinforce what you learned in the tutorial, because the best way to learn coding is to actually code. Now, the next part is the home stretch, but I think it's the toughest. In hours 16 through 24, you'll want to start over and build another program, even if it's pretty similar to what you just built. And this should be a little easier than the last few hours because you're using the same fundamentals and the same basics that you just used. But I say that this could be the toughest because it's tempting to feel as if you've already been there, done that, and you want to move on to the next round, the next step, and learn something new. But you really want to code, code, code. The best way to learn to code is to just keep coding. And that repetition really reinforces what you learned in your tutorial, and it establishes those basics, the fundamentals of the language. However, if you really feel that urge to learn something new, then you can take a short tutorial or research a feature that you can add onto your program that you can build onto from there. Now, by these hours, you are on a roll, and you've done the hardest part, which is learn the basics. You'll inevitably run into some snags, as all coders do, but take advantage on all the resources that are out there to help you figure out your problem. You can Google your issue, or you can go to Stack Overflow or GitHub, or there's so many resources out there. So that's the sample schedule to learn the basics of any programming language within 24 total hours. And from here, you just build onto those skills. And as a bonus, if you are looking to learn Python as your programming language, then I have a fast track Python programming course. It's free, and it will guide you through learning Python as an absolute beginner. This fast track will save you so much time, and I'll get you coding Python programs right away, much less than 24 hours. So if you're interested in that, I will link it down below. Like I said, it's free, so definitely check it out if Python is your language. So that's it for the schedule. Remember to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on my other programming and coding tips. Good luck on whatever language you choose, and join me in the next video.